So continuing now, Ois Yud. So the Rebbe says, and this is a diuk that the Rebbe is going to address in the Maim of Tavshin Chof, the Tchilas HaKavana, the first or primary Kavana, in Brias V'Savas Ha'Olemes, who, Mashin Yisavak Yisborach Eliyas Le'Yisborach, Did B'Tachtoinim. And the Rebbe will address the diuk of the beginning, because there are other explanations, so-called, reasons for creation, and the Rebbe will address that, why Did B'Tachtoinim is the primary and initial cause. That'll be addressed in the Maim Tavshin Chav. How do we make this world a dira? Through subjugating and transforming. So then the person who does this, so those who dwell in the gardens, it's a pasuk in Shir Hashirim. This is the Dibra Maschil of the second Maimer, which this Maimer is completing, right, of the Hemshech. So what's the plural who dwell in the gardens? The Ganim here, Gan Eden Canal, two levels of Gan Eden Elyon, Gan Eden Atacht, Gan Eden Elyon. So those who dwell in the gardens, the upper and lower Gan Eden, Kol Echad Lefi Madreges Avedosai, each one according to his level. Heim Chavedim. So the pasuk describes them as Chavedim, as friends. To the poem sometimes, Neshama min Neshama netzeles. I'm not sure exactly what he means with this, frankly, but sometimes one Neshama, good morning, emerges from another Neshama. He's explaining Chavedim. Why a Neshama is called Chavedim? The word Chava means to join. So he's saying because in the interplay of neshamas, one can emerge from another. Actually, I will elaborate a little bit. He brings a footnote too. We say this in Minor Lashon. Okay, so a little bit of explanation. I don't want to go in Arichas because I want to finish the Ois. It's important to know this following. What? What do you say? Okay, the bottom line to understand this is as follows. When the Eibishter conceived Yisrael Olah B'Machshava, friends, it's one neshama. Initially, that was one neshama. It's the Yechida HaKlolis of Klal Yisrael throughout all the generations. And ever since then, the emerges from that great neshama, or as it were, quote-unquote, breakdown of that great neshama into smaller and smaller parts. As we go down the line through history, the parts become smaller, neshamas become lower. We are, in other words, Klal Yisrael are a great spiritual body. That's true of a given generation. So you have the heads of a given generation, but that's the kind of the micro picture, a generational picture. If you plot all the neshamas on a spiritual graph, from the very beginning till now, it also creates a great spiritual body. And we are Ikvasid the Meshicha. Our souls are the heels, the S-O-L-E, of this great body of Klal Yisrael. As we pointed out in the past, when we talk about breakdown of the original neshama, it does not mean, A, the original neshama becomes depleted, and B, neither does it mean that any neshama that emerges is only a piece or a fragment or a shad or a part of the neshama. Rather, every neshama is a micro of the entire neshama, an olam katan, a small world.
But the Manela says Lifamim.
Yes, but I'm going to say why. Because then, we'll get to that in a second at the end. Just to get the general idea. So again, contemporary science helps us understand this, and that is that in the human body, which is externally, has many, many components and disparate. You have components in the body of that which you can't live, and then components in the body that you can live with that. Cut off a finger, you still live. Remove a nail paring, you can certainly live, and you ought to remove it, and cut your hair, etc. And yet, even the most so-called insignificant component of the body, a swab of saliva, is the entire DNA of the entire body. You can read, in theory, that's what cloning is. And that's why it's mamish happening now, because it's really expressing this very deep truth of interconnectiveness at the essence level of all things. that the most insignificant part of the body contains the entire body. The lowest nefesh, in the words of the Alter Rebbe, nefesh, the nefesh, the Olam Asiyah, which is our generation, because of the soul's neshamas descend through the whole process and evolution of Ishtalshalos, defining and limiting. That's like the toenail at the end. But in here is invested everything, the whole etzem. Now what he says here, the lepa'amim and neshama. So, friends, this is to understand, a particular soul's journey. There's so many factors, gilgulim and interconnectedness, and neshama emerging from a neshama. We're not surprised at this one soul emerging from another, because at the end of the day, it all is one great neshama. So there's endless interactions and dynamics and relationships. At the end, all neshamas come from one essence. That's the neshama of Mashiach. That's what he's going to embody. Mashiach's neshama embodies the core essence of every, is the ultimate nasi. V'avdi davi nasi lahem la'olam. But that's the ultimate, but the core essence. But then along the way, in the emergence of the individual neshamas, there's all kinds of special relationships. All neshamas that are on the right side, the hand, on the left hand, this finger, one emerging from the other. So there's endless and very externally complicated relationships, but really it's all in the great context of one essence manifesting in this great, multi-faceted body of Klal Yisrael. So externally very different, and different relationships between the shamas, just like in the body parts have different relationships with other body parts different than the other, the right hand, left hand, etc. But that's simplifying it, but we get the idea. So sometimes neshama netzelah. That's why he's explaining they're called chavedim. Chavedim means joined, friends, special relationship. So bottom line, here does the avodah of what of iskaf in ishapche. So then, those who dwell in the gardens, Gan Eden Elyon, Gan Eden Elyon, Gatachten, Hamakshivim LaKoyol LaOiskim B'Torah and Mitzvahs, they listen to it's a pasuk. The pasuk says, let's get the pasuk straight. Hayishevas the pasuk goes, Hayishevas Beganim, those who dwell in the gardens. I'm missing a few words here. Hashmini Yaskelech, let me hear your voice. They say, Chavedim Akshivim L'Koilech, friends, listen to your voice. He's saying, it's neshamas in Gan Eden that are listening to the Torah, mitzvahs of Eden down here, and he's saying, Hashmini Yaskelech, let me hear your voice. He's not explaining what that means. So Makshivim L'Koil Oiskim Torah B'Mitzvah, they listen to the voice of those pursuing Torah mitzvahs. V'zeu Hashmini, and they're saying, we want to hear this, meaning we need this, we are elevated by it. They cause an aliyah for the neshama.
Where? The neshamas of malachim?
No. There's two taichin and chavedim. One is malachim, one is neshamas. Here the taich is neshamas, not malachim. I think he's going to mention the other explanation that chavedim goes on. Malachim, because they are friends with each other. There's achdus there. There's no envy, competition, division. But here, this meaning it's neshamas, and he's saying that neshamas lemaila have an aliyah through the avodah of neshamas down here. What does that mean? In Pashtus, it means, at least one thing it means is a loved one that you dedicate, you do mitzvahs for, dedicate to the neshama. They have an aliyah, so they want more. So for Zeh, and that's the meaning of Ayishev as Beganim, those who dwell in the gardens. He now quotes from a Medrash. Omra Kadosh Baruch Hu Knesset Yisrael. So the Medrash explains the pasuk as follows: Hashem says to Yidden, Atapsura Begoila, you who are dispersed in exile, V'roya, and pasturing Beganim Shalachedim, in the gardens of others, exiled outside of your land, in foreign lands. Now that the Rebbe adds, this is similar to what the pasuk says in Zechariah. I have spread you, Hashem says, like the four directions of the heavens. Now continuing the Medrash. You're sitting in the gardens, even though you're in Golus. In other words,
not in the gardens,
said, he also said the word L'Gani.
That means Yesheves.
L'Gani means that.
No,
It
it's before Ganim Shel Acheret.
It means both, but in these, but there you're sitting also. The Ganim also means Yoshev is about the Knesset, is about the Midrashes. You're sitting in. It's L'Gani L'Gnuni. That's my dwelling place. You're sitting in the houses of in the shul about the Midrashes Lasik b'Torah, and you're learning Torah. Ubefrat kvis itin l'Torah barabim. I think that's the Figure Rebbe's edition, especially when it's the Figure Rebbe is calling for this, especially in okay, this Maimah again originally Safresh Pei Gimel, still in Russia. I mean, it was a big call to the Figure Rebbe constantly in all his letters.
It's 1923.
Right, so he was constantly then calling, not just private learning, but important coming together to learn. If we sit in the Torah Barabim, it's a dominant theme. So the pasuk continues in Chavedim. Now the other meaning of Chavedim, friends. First he says Neshamas. The second meaning is it goes on Shem Malachi Hasharish Nikram Chavedim. This refers to the angels who are called friends. If you ain't ben able kin of sinner, they have no envy and no hatred, tachlis and no competition. Makshivim l'koilech, they listen to your voice. All of ishtalshul, this is elevated through the avodah of Yidden Dafka when in Golus. Hashem zeh, now he adds a new point. Hashem zeh nikroim Yisrael tzivis avayah. This avodah of what? In Golos, Torah and mitzvahs and barabim and kvias itim, and notwithstanding all the trials and tribulations and difficulties of Golos, but ganim shalachedim. So when Yidden do that, they are called tzivos Hashem. What does tzivos Hashem mean? He's going to explain it. So the first time we find this, and it was on this day. This is in Parshas Bais. That's the parsha of Yud Shvat. That Yotzu called Tzivos Havayim Meretz Mitzrayim. All the hosts of Hashem left Mitzrayim. Now, what does this word mean? Tzivos Havayim Kavoni Al Yisrael. This means the Yidden. K'mishakosov, as the pasuk says, it was in that very day. Hoitzi Havayis Bnei Yisrael Meretz Mitzrayim. Hashem took out the Yidden Al Tzivosam on by their hosts. Now, what does this word tzivos mean? Tzorich lahavin. We have to understand. Mahu zed Yisrael nikra tzivos havayah. What does it mean that Yidden are called the hosts of Hashem? The Shem tzvakos leiniska b'Torah. Referring to Hashem as tzvakos is not mentioned in Torah. It's mentioned. Chana is the first one to call him, to call the Eibishter by this name, Lord of Hosts. Lord of Hosts doesn't appear in Torah. Yidden are called Tzivos Hashem. Yidden are called hosts. V'kan and here, Koide as Yisrael Tzivos Hashem. We are called the hosts of Hashem. V'chein b'tzias Mitzrayim maskil tzivosam dafke. And again, we just quoted the pasuk. When they left, they're called tzivosam. K'mishakosov. The pasuk again. Kibetzim yemazet seis tzivosechem eretz Mitzrayim. On this they took out your hosts of Mitzrayim. So what does this word mean as it applies to Yidden? As it applies to Hashem, that only appears much later in history. So here it's a term referring to Yidden. What does it mean? So he brings you three meanings. Ella that Sova yesh ba gimel perushim. The word Sova means three things. Aleph lashon chayil, soldier, hosts. Bais, zman mugbal, set time. As the pasuk says in Iyuv, there is a set time to man it's upon the face of the earth. And clear. So the first one is soldier or army, troops. Second one is zman, set zman. And the third, I want to tell you. So he says meloshin sivyan. Now, what does sivyan mean? Figure it's not taich, but it's. The listener, any listener is welcome to comment here, because the pshat in the Gemara, let's read it. Kedrashas Razal, like the Gemara says, Rosh Hashanah al pasuk, by Chulo Shamayim, and Hashem completed heaven, earth, v'chol tzvam, all of its hosts. Says the Gemara that tzivyoinam nivru, they were created according to their tzivyoinam. Now, Seems to me the pshat in the Gemara there, it's meloshen desire. Tzavim means desire. In other words, the Gemara is saying that every creation was created with the desire, innate desire, to carry out its purpose for which it was created, to fulfill the will of the Creator. But here the Frierdiker Rebbe is teaching, it seems to me, tzivyonim as in color.
Plurality.
Color.
Plurality.
Color. Tzeva, meloshen tzeva, color. The harmony of color, harmony. That doesn't seem to be the pshat in the Gemara. It's within ayah, what can I tell you? Vapirush, tzovi, if you paid attention to it, tzovi means to desire in Aramaic. In the Ksubah says over and over again, but tzovi, then he desired and he added more. So that's the pshat in the Gemara. But it's not the way he's learning it here. Look what he says. Vapirush, the Neshamas Yisrael, that Eden, Avshem Chalukim B'madrigasa, even though they're different in their various levels, Bali Asaga, so you have the intellectual Shem Mari Torah, masters of Torah, Umari Rozin, and masters of secrets, V'Seidis Yiloyin, and the hidden supernal matters, Mari Chuchmas, masters of wisdom. That's one category. Within that, all these subdivisions. V'yashtam Adashim Shutim, and then there are simple folk, they are simply masters of good deeds, that keep Torah mitzvahs with this innocence and simplicity. Each person serving Hashem according to his avoid lefi erka, according to, this is all the second category. According to his level, he's serving Hashem, supporting Torah, either bodily, b'mayin, financially. So he just described these very different levels, from the intellectuals to the doers. And this is their beauty. This is the ultimate beauty. Beauty is not one color, but beauty is a harmony of different colors. The gavan echad, one color, it ain't by yofi. It's not beautiful. Oh, we have many colors in a harmonious way. That is beauty. So that's the way he's teaching at Tzivyonim, even though he's quoting the Gemara. And I didn't look up all the Mefarshim in the Gemara. Maybe there's Mefarshim that explain the Gemara that way. But at any rate, that's the third meaning, means harmony. So they, and mamshich through the avodah, that's tzivos havaya. Through the avodah of tzava, they're mamshich havaya in the world. As he goes on to say, we're clear, we're following this?
Yeah.
V'tzava sh'agbola u'mayid, and putting all the taishas together. Now, tzivyoinam, everybody contributing their unique contribution, completing our fellow Jew. He's the scholar, he's the doer, etc. Each one doing to their capacity. So they're mamshech elikus, we're into the world. So, not some elikus, shemavaya, sev kalalmin, shu hagbala mayid, they're bringing elikus into this finite world, which is hagbala, which is limitation of mayid, everything is fixed and set. Al derech yoma mitzorav le'echad. Days he has created, and not one, or unto him one, whatever the meaning there is. But the pasuk is pointing out that this world is a world of finite time. There's a limit, a specified amount of time for each person allotted in this world. Each person he has X amount of time, days, to contribute his avodah. When a person completes his days by elevating the sparks, for subjugating and then transforming, also then he is earned, and that's what the pasuk is saying, tzivasavai. He is a host, he's a soldier. He didn't actually say the soldier part yet. The point of a soldier is Mesiras Nefesh. So, soldier does his part and brings and changes the world of time and space. The three meanings of tzava. That's the meaning of the pasuk that the Yidden without, that was the redemption then, which is the template for the final redemption. The tzivas havayim Yisrael. Who are these? These are the Yidden. They elevate the world. The oisim mikasher keresh. They take. Kesher means a knot. they make a keresh. V'hainu de mea keresh de olam. Huh? Mea kesher de olam. Not sheker, but the kesher of the world. Maybe it means, getting tied up in knots in a negative way.
Kesher is obviously negative over
here. Yeah, he could. Now he says sheker. The next few words. The masha'olam maretz atzmil mitzias, that which the world projects itself as being independent. That is a sheker. Now, how's that connected to the word kesher?
You're connected to this world.
Maybe. Yeah. So the world portrays itself as a lie, and what does he do? He takes that lie. The truth is the world is not independent. Its truth is the chayis which animates it. And we do Torah mitzvahs that we should. This lie becomes the board, which is the pillars, as we learned in the previous us. They're columns. A column connects the upper with the lower. Connecting to the very loftiest level, bringing it all the way down. Let's continue the ice. Therefore, Yidna called Tzivus Havaya. Shemagalim Amshichim Gili Havaya. We reveal Havaya down here. For Tzvos Man Mugbal, and in time and space, the Chol Avidosam Sheba Yomim Yitzoru. In all of the days which have been formed and allotted, Shenitn L'Chol Echad V'Echad Yiloi Echad. It should all be permeated with this Echad. That's V'Loi Echad. Loi Echad. Unto him is oneness. The pasuk says Yomim Yitzoru V'Loi Echad. The word Loi is not one, or Loi unto him is one. Meaning Yomim Yitzoru. You were given days. What is it all for? Unto him oneness. To bring Hashem's oneness into all of the days of one's life. Where in the Yom Yitzoru, in the days allotted to him. That's again the Loi Echad, Loi, no, but deeper meaning Loi with the Vav, that we should make the Yitzoru all unto him, all connected with Hashem. Huh? Hashem Echad. Hashem Echad. Dalet means Hashem. Kitzur. Yamshich, he continues. The kesher v'sheket ha'olam, the kesher, the connections that we have to the world, and the lie of the world. Nepach l'keresh, Mishkan becomes the board of the Mishkan. Basi L'Gani. Hashem says, I come to my dwelling place. V'chaveri makshivim, neshamas and malachim. Everybody's all tuned in. What's happening down here? Say, do another mitzvah. You're elevating us. You're justifying our existence. You're making us recognize and feel that the whole purpose is dir betachtonim, and that's how we access Hashem. Loshen chayil, soldier, zman, and tzivyon. Time and harmony. I think the Rebbe did. Okay. We stop here or continue? We'll stop here, I guess. No, okay, we're in the middle already of, we started already, let's go a little bit further. Tafshin Chaf, we started. Start from Bais. No, the beginning is in this, you don't have to. The beginning is a summary. You don't have to start from the beginning. Bais. We're in the middle of V'hina Yedua.
Okay, well, might as well go back to that.
Okay, Mam Sheba, so then we'll go. Mam Sheba Mayim B'Sif HaSidi, so he says in the 10th, till now was a summary. Now the 10th is Hasidi Yeh Kodesh. The 10th animal is Kodesh. That's the pasuk he's quoting. The reason the pasuk repeats again, Yeh Kodesh, to teach us Yeh Kodesh Mikol Malkim, even if he doesn't count it, it's explained in the conventional way by having him filing through the opening of the corral, and then with a daubing each 10th one, marking it, as the Asiri. They were sitting or crouching, and he just counted the 10. Mikol Malkim, it all says the Kedusha. So what I'm saying is that 10, Mikol Malkim, just without any Avodah, has a special, unique status, the 10th, because it's the final, it represents the summation of all of the Sviras. And especially if we take this idea of 10 and we employ it in Avodas Hashem, it certainly has special and unique status. This is the 10th year This is Tafshin Chav, that's why he's stressing this. That this is a new stage. I'm just going to tell you what I heard from Yossi Parish, from Rabbi Yoel. Yossi Parish is Yoel's nephew. That Chadakov told Rabbi Yoel. Rabbi Yoel had a question. It was around Yud Shvat time. A question. It wasn't a question of pshat. A question of like Peil Mamish thing. So the bottom line was, it'll depend when you ask before Yud Shvat or after Yud Shvat. Before Yud Shvat you can get one answer, and after Yud Shvat you can get another answer.
What's that now?
Chadakov. In other words, he's telling him that after Yud Shvat it's a new level of not level of Nesias, yes, in a way level, I would say that's higher and higher. A new level, a new direction, and the Rebbe doesn't have it till after Yud Shvat. After Yud Shvat, it's a new answer.
Every year Yud Shvat.
Every year Yud Shvat. Especially when it comes to big decades, big moments, like another decade, they would say this. This is not just another stage, but it's a shift in the whole shlichus. That's what we're saying over here. See, Yira Kodesh B'chlal, 10 is a new stage. Even in the Ilam Hazeh, every 10 years there's another epoch of some side, some in some sense. And much more so when it's in Kedusha for sure, it is. Let's get the Lashon and finish it. So what does he say there in the mind which we just read? In everyone. So the glory, and he's going to say, we said before, glory means covered. It means the covered of Hashem. It also means the preciousness, meaning Sefer Kol Almin. Or Mamshich, this is what he wants to zero in on. And the figure continues, Basi L'Gani the Mokim, this is how we started this morning with this quote. The Mokim Shei Ikra B'Tchila, the place where he was at the beginning, the Tchilas, HaKavona, the primary Kavona, the Bris Misav Soilamas, who, Mashin Yisavak, Yisbaruchas, Yisbar Dir B'Tachtoinim. And as he's going to explain, there are other Kavonas, but they're lower. Explain what lower means. But Tchilas HaKavona is Dir B'Tachtoinim. That will continue with Hashem on Monday.
Guys,